daughter.
Well, lovely
Thank you
to
for
meet
coming.
you. Thanks for having me.
Tobacco Factory, you were performing here last night.
I was.
And you said it was a nice...
I didn't stay here. I didn't sleep
you
on
should
the
have.
stage.
Yeah, with your sleeping bag.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like I should get a motorhome or a camper van or something.
Have you considered that?
Well, you do think, actually, it would be... But then you do a lot of having to go to the toilet in car parks and things, and I just...
That is true.
It's not really me.
You want to avoid that as much as
I'd
possible.
rather have a hotel.
Nice hotel.
Ensuite.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, you're catered for.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was a good gig, you were saying.
It was lovely, yeah.
Nice
It was. Well, I was lucky enough to be on with Imran Yusuf.
Lovely.
And
Imran
so
Yusuf,
I stayed to see his show and enjoyed it very much. So yeah, it was great.
Yes, yeah. And so have you not been to Bristol for a little while?
Oh.
Because obviously you've had this time off.
I've had a couple of years off.
That probably everyone's asking you about.
Well, no one's interested. Thanks.
No,
Thanks
no.
for
Well, I
thinking
mean,
they
I
would be.
thought because you've had this big break, and because you went for 8 years.
Yes,
didn't you?
yes.
2 years off. It's
Yeah.
quite big, really.
It is quite. I've really missed. I mean, I've missed comedy generally, and missed the Edinburgh Festival specifically quite a lot, much more than I thought I would. Because I think I was ready for a bit of a break, and actually it worked. The timing was perfect. That I kind of, got up the stick just at the right time, and so yes, I had my first baby. And thought, I'd quite like to go back to comedy. Maybe I could do Edinburgh next year. And then immediately got pregnant again.
Another baby.
And then, so actually by that time it was like, 2 years. You go, come on, I'm ready now to get back into it.
So you weren't really gigging at all during that?
Bits and bobs.
Okay.
I mean, I quite liked gigging pregnant because it makes the audience terrified.
Oh, does it?
The sense of power you have as a pregnant woman walking on stage, especially like when you're quite big, because I was quite big.
Right.
And people do not heckle you when you're pregnant.
At any moment.
And they are, they're kind of going, I might have to catch in the front row. So I did bits and pieces, but not really. I mean, certainly not a whole new show, which is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, so you're enjoying sort of... Is it almost like starting again a little bit because you've got to find your feet and...
Yeah. I mean, I was quite nervous the first few gigs that I did. I mean, not as nervous as when I was first doing it because that was terrifying. But yeah, sort of still a little bit nervous and... Yeah, and you do just get a bit rusty. It's like anything. If you don't do it for 2 years, you kind of need to relearn it. But it's been very good fun for that. And the writing, I mean, it is so nice just to be using my brain again for something other than remembering when I need to change a nappy or So yeah,
stimulating.
It is more intellectually stimulating.
Yeah.
I hate to say it than the early stages of motherhood.
Yeah, and indeed, it's quite a kind of high concept show almost, isn't it? Because what have you? It's people. I looked it up.
It's called People Person.
People Person, yeah.
Yes.
But what was the thing you studied?
Social anthropology.
Social anthropology.
You
that's
see,
it.
now what you've done is you've made the mistake of reading the press release that I wrote in March.
Oh, right.
When the show was very different.
It's much more loose now.
There is an element of sort of anthropological experimentation to it, but it's basically just a story because.
Okay.
A really interesting thing happened to me, and so I've woven the show around that story.
Right, so that happened after you wrote all the press for it. It's slightly frustratingly.
I know, but then I think press releases you just kind of go yeah. I mean, I've never had the show written when the press release has been written ever in my entire life. I think that would be wrong. I think you do sort of write the press release almost as a. I mean, it's good because it's a wake up call to you. You go, God, I've really got to write this show because you write the press release and you go, that sounds excellent. That sounds like a really good show that I would love to go and see. So yeah, and then you actually have to write the show. And of course, it always ends up being slightly different. But yes, it is definitely. I mean, it's about. Fundamentally, it's about people and it's about my love of observing and enjoying other people. So it does have an anthropological bent in that way.
No, right, I see. But I mean, have you had like a story that you've used before to kind of weave?
Not really. I've had themes.
Right.
I've had themes, and there have been stories within them. But yeah, this is the first time that there's a sort of overarching narrative.
Right.
It feels a little bit, and I hesitate to use the word theatrical.
Oh, does it?
I don't like to say I'm the next Judi Dench, but that's what I'm saying.
You kind of am.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, but it is. It's a bit. Yes, it's. I mean, it's still stand up, but yeah, just having a narrative structure is actually quite nice because with the themes I've had before. it does give you something to sort of go back to and to build around. But yeah, having a story is lovely, because if you ever get a bit stuck and think, what was I talking about? Oh, anyway.
You can come in.
Yay! Plonk it
right here.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was worried not to step right involved in get right involved in it.
Well, you'd be very welcome to sit down, pull up a seat. Have you got any mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise, yeah, I'll just grab you a little
Thank you very much.
Now, what we were going to do at some point was get you to make something out of plasticine.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you want to do that before the food or after? I didn't know.
Well, how long are we going to... I mean, can I pick as we talk?
You absolutely can.
Is that all right?
Yes, that would be fine.
I mean, and help yourself, obviously.
I think I'm okay.
Are you sure? But
yes.
There's so much. Do you want a little side plate of patatas bravas?
What is it? It's a sort of bean salad.
It's the bean and halloumi salad.
Okay.
With the patatas bravas side. I'm pretty hungry.
Okay.
Because I didn't really... The problem with being on the road is that you don't eat properly and look after yourself. And also, I was having a night away from the kids, which is a very rare treat. So I was like, should I eat or should I just read a book and have some quiet time? So.
Okay. Well, no. Feel free to.
We'll start if that's
Oh,
right.
of course. Yes. No. Not at all.
It's not too disgusting. The noise of me eating my bean salad.
So you're back in Edinburgh, and you're at the stand. Are you doing other things as well? Because I know you were really involved with the radio and.
Yeah, I'm not. I've put in a few extra things. I think I'm doing a gig at a football club in Dunfermline. I know that much.
Okay.
That's going to be exciting.
That's going to be an interesting one.
But yeah, I'm not sure what other things I'm doing. I mean, I'm trying to keep it a bit simple this year and not crucially do loads of the late night gigs, which I've always done in the past.
Which can be a struggle, I expect.
I just think, because I'm getting up at 6 in the morning now.
But also, you've kind of made your name
rather than
now.
going to bed at 6 in the morning, which is what I used to do.
Yeah, but I think when you first go up, you kind of I've got to do every gig that someone offers me because I mean that's the nature of it. But
I know, well, and also you need the money. That's the crucial thing, because they do. I mean, they don't pay well, but they pay a bit.
Which is better than losing
Which is
money
better.
on your show.
You are kind of trying to. I mean, God, I remember the first year where I was losing. I knew I was going to lose about £5,000, and so I was just desperately doing every little, even if it was just for free beer. They used to do a show called the Free Beer Show, and I did that quite a lot, just going, well, at least I can drink my troubles away. But I mean, luckily I had quite a good year, and it all, I came back the next year and didn't lose money, and it's gone well. But yeah, I mean, it's nuts. But yeah, so like now, luckily, I'm at the stand, which is quite financially good, so I don't feel the need to do.
And is it with the view to take it on a full tour as well, or
not really with a view to anything at the moment?
No?
I mean, basically it was just an exercise to get me writing again and force me back on stage. So it's done that, and then maybe I don't know. See how it goes, really, because I mean, I would like to. I mean, I love doing touring. And I love doing little art centres like this, and that to me now is what I really enjoy. Much as I still love the cut and thrust of a weekend live club, I do also like art centres where it's all very nice. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'll tour it if things go well. But yeah.
Yeah, and it is written, is it? It's sort of you'll put it on a piece of paper, or is it?
No, I mean, I sort of write on stage. I mean, I'm not very good at actually writing things down word for word, and. I mean, I'm a bit better than I was actually at doing that, because I've had to be a bit more organised this year with the show, because I've got less time to fanny about, during the day. So I kind of have to be a bit more disciplined. So I think I've my brain's gone. What's the word? Sort of formatted it or structured it kind of more effectively and more rigidly. But yeah, I have a weird superstition. I try not to be superstitious. I've spent my entire life trying to rid myself of the superstitions I grew up with. But I think I am a bit superstitious about writing things down. I do feel it robs it of the magic somehow when you see it. It's like when you watch stand-up on telly.
Feels forced.
Yeah, you just kind of, it's not the same as being in the moment, so I think I've got a bit of a problem with that, but I might have to actually write it down, because my brain is so fried just because I think I've just been quite, I haven't been thinking in stand-up ways, so my brain, those bits of my brain have atrophied, so I now find it really difficult to sort of remember the show, and I'm thinking, God, it would be awful if I leave it for like 6 months and then decide to go on tour, then I'm going to have to go, hang on, what was that again? I can't. So
because it only exists in the moment.
Yes,
there's nothing you
yes.
can really go back to.
I mean, I might record. I've started on my iPhone recording all my gigs, because actually that's quite good to listen back to them, but I still find it very difficult to put anything on paper.
Indeed. Yeah, so you were saying about how TV stuff, it doesn't really work on TV. Do you think...
Well, it's all right, but it's not the same, is it?
Well, no, not at all. I mean, because you used to do, I suppose, a little bit more, and I suppose having kids, that's made it less. Would it be something that you'll go back to, do you think? Or?
I don't know. Well, I mean, who knows whether... I think... there's a new generation of people who are doing sort of what I used to do, and it's fair enough. I sort of feel like I've kind of done that a bit.
Well, the optimism thing as well has kind of... that used to be your niche, but now everyone's doing it, isn't it?
I know, I was cheerful before it was fashionable.
Exactly, yeah.
But, yeah. What's nice is I've gone the other way. I'm now much more depressed and cynical, so it's fine. I'm occupying another new niche, but yeah. I mean, I don't really have any great ambition to do anything on television particularly. I mean, I think, to be honest, I think in my heart of hearts, writing is probably where my future lies, just because it's much easier to combine with having a family and sort of staying in one place a bit more, and yeah, so I kind of, we'll see what happens really. It is just, I mean, this literally has just been, right, I need to get working again. What can I do? Well, Edinburgh's coming up. I'll do an Edinburgh show.
You know how to do it.
Exactly, and it's easy, and and the stand were prepared to take me, and so da. So it's like kind of after this, I've got to start thinking long term. What am I going to do? And am I going to carry on gigging on the on the circuit? Am I going to start trying to branch out into other things? And I think probably what I'll do is take a bit of time off in the autumn and try writing some things and see what happens.
Well, I mean, because you did acting before, didn't you? You've done little bits and bobs, but then that kind of... Did that fizzle away a little bit? Or?
Well, I mean, I didn't really actively chase it. I got cast in a couple of things just because, they were things that comedians... there was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which was all a cast of comedians, so they were looking for lady comedians, and I happened to be available. And so I did that, and I've done a few, I did a pilot for Guy Jenkin, who wrote Drop the Dead Donkey and does Outnumbered and all that, and which was great fun, and I really liked that, and it was really good fun. But I mean, I'm not a trained actor, so it's kind of, it's just one of those things I've happened to do a bit of along the way. But yeah, I mean, I might try doing more of that. I might try, the problem is, I think, as a... I'm not a kind of established... I'm an established comedian, that's the only thing I'm established as. So I will kind of have to use that to create my own things. So I think if I want to act, I'll have to write a play and act in it.
You've got to,
produce it myself, or, it's not like you sort of fall into it.
Because you are the funny person, you write funny things, yeah.
I think branching out of stand-up, you've got to... you've just got to decide what you want to do and go for it, and having the sort of the background of stand-up is quite good, because people now are quite excited about stand-up, and it's a big thing at the moment. So I think it gets your foot in the door. So rather than being a writer just going in with a script, you're that stand-up comedian going in with the script, and I think it might I think it helps a bit.
Yes, indeed. Now, your last show was called, it was Fool's Gold, wasn't it? And then it was Bare Necessities.
That was before that, and then there was Lucy Porter's Lovin'. And then before that, this is a good test. I did one called Lady Luck, live at the Underbelly. That's an easy one to remember because it's just the venue.
Yeah.
And then the one at the Gilded Balloon, I think was just called Lucy Porter. Luck one, Happiness. This is only interesting for me that I'm just trying to remember all my shows. But yes, there have been a few.
There've been a few, but for every one you kind of did a kind of extravagant poster.
Yeah.
Did you do one for this one?
Well, it's not quite as...
Because Fool's Gold was just
that was
incredible.
A showgirl kind of thing. It was Vegas, and it was coins, and this one I sort of went for. I was kind of aiming. The poster is around somewhere. It's. Hang on.
might be in there.
Oh no, that's not the. I thought that was the comedy festival. Anyway, it's sort of a. I kind of went for a silent film or early Hollywood kind of look, which I was intending to be black and white. I'd seen a poster for Gilda that I really liked, and I thought, arrogantly, I thought, I'll just do that. But anyway, we've ended up doing it in colour, but it's me and a wind machine.
Oh right, okay. So it's maybe a little bit more basic, a bit
it's
more.
Quite, yeah. I mean, well, also the thing is, like at the Pleasance, where I've been the last few years in Edinburgh, you kind of need a big presence of posters and everything because you're competing with all the other shows there. Whereas at the stand, people either come to the stand or they don't. It's over the other side of town. It's comedy. Luckily, it's comedy people who go to the stand year round tend to go there.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not you don't feel like it's so much of a bun fight and like you need kind of to dazzle. You kind of just go, look, I'm on at the stand. If you want to come. I mean, really, let's be grown up about this.
And has it changed the show maybe a little bit because you've got a captive comedy audience?
It's a very chewy cheese.
Chewy cheese. Oh,
very chewy cheese. I think what it has changed is there's something nice as well about sort of being in. It's a lovely room. The stand one. It's like I've played it loads of times as a club room, normally during the year, and you can't have a set, you can't have a backdrop, you can't have anything, which is really good because when the last couple of years I've been in Pleasance 2, or no, not Pleasance 2, Pleasance Beyond, which is a big gymnasium, and you sort of feel like you've got to have something to kind of fill the space. So backdrops and all that sort of thing, and it's it's just nice to pare it back because also I do feel like it reflects. I'm kind of trying to go back to basics and start again with my stand-up and reinvent a persona. Because also the persona I used to have is sort of doesn't really fit me anymore because a lot of it was about being single and child-free, and there was. I mean, not all of it, but there was certainly an element of that. And now, of course, life has changed quite considerably. And I feel, I do feel different. I feel like a slightly different person.
It's kind of, it's strange how your career has kind of followed you from a single person, and then you couldn't do your single stuff anymore because you were married, and stuff about not wanting kids, and now you've got kids. So it's kind of.
What it shows is that I don't know my own mind, and I have no consistency of values or opinions.
But then who does?
Who does? I know. Well, exactly. Hopefully, the audience will relate to that. But I think it's I mean, there's something nice about starting again with a bit of a blank canvas, really, because I did when I was pregnant and stuff. I was gigging still, but I kind of was doing old stuff because I was just too busy to kind of really get my head around writing new stuff, and so now it's really nice because I am completely starting with a fresh lot of material and not looking backwards at all.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Now, is it okay if you make something out of plasticine just for our collection?
I'm an expert.
Perfect, because
I've done a lot of good plasticine work.
Well, indeed, with your kids now, are they a fan of the plasticine? Because most people are quite out of practice.
Yeah, see, Emily has just got into it.
So
this isn't high grade plasticine.
It's not.
This is
and
terrible.
The thing is, it was in other colours, and white was the only one left, so it attracts the other stuff.
Yeah. Do you know? I could have brought my own if you'd only said.
I should.
I'm absolutely coming down with plasticine and Play-Doh. I could have brought you both.
Well, Play-Doh's something I haven't used for a while.
Play-Doh's good because, it's softer, and you can keep the colours a bit more separate.
Exactly. Yes.
Because that is the problem with plasticine. You end up with brown. That's the only colour you get in the end.
Now we're going to try and get you, based on your bare necessity show, to make a bear of some description.
Yeah.
So you can choose to
Look
take
at me
that
just
however
taking
you
this
like.
I bet some younger comics would panic at this point.
Yeah. Whereas you are
you want a bear?
professional.
Yeah.
All
Bring
right.
it on.
Okay. Here we go.
No problem. And you're doing one too, are you?
Yeah. And Ben's doing one as well.
Oh, brilliant. Hey, Ben. Oh, Ben's got a bigger bit of plasticine than me.
Has he?
Not fair.
I tried to be. I tried to be really equal, but. Okay, so these are our creations that we've lovingly worked out. Yours has a potato behind it. I think you need to explain.
He's guarding a potato.
Yes. But so that is for structural support.
It's for structural support. I was making use of the materials at hand.
So you've gone for the teddy.
I've gone for a teddy bear. I'm not delighted with it, I'm going to be honest.
Did you had something else pictured, did you?
It was going to be cuddlier. It was going to be a little bit more sort of appealing. That's a terrifying, eyeless...
Is it based on one of your kids' teddies, or is it...
I've seen a lot of teddy bears lately.
Okay,
so I have,
yeah.
It's not based on any one teddy bear. I wouldn't like you to think that it's it's drawn from one teddy bear. It was an amalgamation of a lot of teddy bears.
Okay, so sort of a Frankenstein teddy.
Frankenstein.
This one's Ben's, which again puts us all to shame.
It's great. It's got
He's
a hat
amazing.
on and everything.
Yeah, I think the key to a bear is a good hat.
Do you have any... I thought you had something...
Yogi Bear,
Yogi Bear.
yeah.
Ah, I see.
It's really quite a good rendering of Yogi Bear, actually.
Now my one, I don't. Now mine always end up interesting, but I think this is.
You've got lion and bear. There is a lion-bear confusion going on.
There's
in
a
your
mix-up,
head,
I think.
as lions go, I think it's very good.
It's a troubled bear. A confused bear.
Yes, a bear with an identity crisis. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the arms are an afterthought. I've suddenly
there are
realised
arms.
they are
I
arms,
see.
believe it or not, and that's the you can see the tail. Oh, yeah, I'm quite ashamed, to be honest.
Oh, you shouldn't be ashamed. It's lovely.
It's yeah.
It captures the essence of bear.
Yeah,
than
I
being
suppose.
a boring, literal representation of a bear.
Rather than actually make a bear, I've just gone a bit
you think
mad.
bear, you think and that's what that says to me.
So you said that you're doing a bit of plasticine modelling.
I know you wouldn't know it from that pathetic effort.
Well,
but yes, I am.
Well, you know that
I'm up with plasticine and Play-Doh.
Play-Doh, indeed, and we should have. I think we should use Play-Doh at some point.
Well, because also the lovely thing is you can eat Play-Doh with absolutely no repercussions.
Can you?
Yeah, I mean, it's not,
it's not recommended.
Delicious or anything, but
do you make your own Play-Doh, or is it? No.
Should do. It's very easy. But no, I have failed to do that because you just get the made stuff is really cheap, unfortunately.
Right.
Which is this is why our world is going to hell in a handcart, and we're all going to be left on one tiny little bit of polar ice in 10 years, but yes.
That the best stuff is bought, yes. Well, I mean, they're marvellous, and I think that's a good way to end the interview with a parade of...
Teddy Bear's Picnic.
Of a Teddy Bear's Picnic, indeed, and a potato.
Do you want to give them some picnic items?
Okay. Oh, yeah, so they've got some...
Enormous cucumber.
It's like a surfboard for the...
Picnic time for teddy bears. The little teddy bears are having a lovely time today. I could sing the whole of that song for you.
On repeat.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Thank you, Lucy.
Oh, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes,
Help yourself to potatoes.
Forcing me to eat potatoes.
You don't. There's nothing of you. I'm such a mother now. I'm like, come on, you've got to eat. You've got to look after yourself. You can't just live on coffee and comedy. It's not enough.
It's my diet. Yeah. Mm.